Hi you guys, it's Alexis and I want to thank you guys for coming back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the top tips that Warren Buffett, the person who is like phenomenal investor, we're going to be discussing his tips on how to invest today. Everybody knows who Warren Buffett is. He is like the mogul of all investing. He has done phenomenal when it comes to the stock market. So Warren Buffett is basically one of the OGs, and we can take a lot of good tips from him when it comes to investing your money. Tip number one is going to be never invest in something that you do not understand. Tip number one is very crucial because a lot of people try to invest their money in things that they don't really understand the basics or the foundation of. So an example would be like someone that does not understand how Bitcoin really works. Another example would be cryptocurrency. Say another person does not know how mutual funds actually work. First tip is basically kind of like a reassurance that you want to do your research on things that you are going to have the information on before you actually put money up on something that you essentially have no clue of how it actually happens at all. And that's very dangerous because you run the risk of losing a lot of money in the process because you have not done the research on what it is that you're investing into. So tip number one is tip number one because you want to be very knowledgeable on where you are putting your money into. Tip number two is going to be you want to make sure that you have shares in that company. With tip number two is when you're basically investing in the stock market, you want to make sure that you're owning a portion of the company. You don't have to own, obviously, the whole company, but you want to make sure that your money is working for you for a certain portion in that company. And that compounds a lot of interest for you. So compound interest is going to work in your favor in that case, which is essentially, that's a benefit for anybody, especially if the younger you are, then the more compound interest you'll have on your money when you turn maybe 50, 60 years old, you'll be set. So you will be good. Tip number three is basically you want to keep all things simple. When it comes to investing, you want to make sure you keep it very, very simple. A lot of people try to make investing seem like it's so difficult that you have to know before you actually do it, but it's very simple. All you need to know is the basics, do your research, and have the knowledge of the basics of what you're going to be investing in. So like, for instance, with the stock market, maybe some people prefer index funds over mutual funds, and you want to do your research in knowing what the difference is between the two. So keeping it simple, you don't need to do too much, and it all, whether you have advanced knowledge of investing or just the simple basics, that will take you a long way, trust me, because when I first started, I had basically like the basic knowledge of investing. I really didn't know what stocks were too much and mutual funds were and index funds. But once I actually started researching it, I started understanding it a lot more. And so now that I have been an investor for a couple of years, you understand like, okay, there's a foundation of learning the basics first. Then after the basics, you start to advance. So if you don't know advanced knowledge on how the market kind of fluctuates and goes up and down, that's fine. Just learn the basics, and then off of the basics, you basically building up to be basically an advanced investor for yourself. And that works in your benefit. Tip number four is going to be know when to walk away. Point blank. You see that you're invested in something that is making you lose too much money than rather giving you an adequate return, then you kind of have to know when to cash your chips in and leave, because it's not worth it. So say if I invested in cryptocurrency and I'm just losing so much money, but I feel like, oh, because it's cryptocurrency, I want to try to stay in it. I want to really thug it out. I want to ride it out and see how far I can get. Sometimes if you're losing too much, just cut your losses on it and just move on, because you don't want to end up losing way more of your money and not even walking out with at least half of it. So in this option, you have to actually like use your brain and say, okay, if I'm losing too much money at this level and it just keeps rising and rising, okay, I pretty much need to cut my losses and I need to walk away. Okay, so to kind of come to grips with that is very important, because I know it's hard for a lot of people. Once you start something, you kind of want to see it through, but when it comes to finances and you got too much money, you know, that you're losing on the line, you kind of have to kind of sever the ties of it. Tip number 5 is going to be know when to say no. There's someone coming to you and they're saying, oh, well, we can help you make this quick amount of cash in this short amount of period. Don't fall for that. Just learn how to say no, because that's not even going to be beneficial to you, and that's going to be actually time wasted that you're going to wish that you could have got back. So if someone is coming to you with the idea like it sounds too good to be true, then it really does sound too good to be true. I'm not really going to give any examples of that, because I respect what other people decide that they might want to do and however they do it. But if someone's coming to you about, oh, you know, you could turn this profit over really quick and this and that, don't do it. Just do not do it. The next tip is that you do not need to be an expert in anything. So that goes to say that you do not need to be a financial advisor. It's okay. Everybody who's an investor is not a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor, but I mean, I really could be, but I choose not to. So a lot of people who have gone the investment route are not financial advisors. But if you want to seek out a financial advisor, that's a good option too. It's always good to have an expert. And then, of course, besides you having an expert, you also have your own basic knowledge of what it is that you want to do with your money. Because whether you have a financial advisor or not, in the end, they are still the advisor. They're not technically the expert, the end all be all. You're actually the ones who is going to be making the decision to whether you want to invest in this or you don't, because the choice is going to be ultimately yours, not theirs. So the last tip is never, ever, ever take investing advice from someone who has never invested a day in their life. So that's very important, because I know a lot of people advice from people who do not even know how the stock market is ran. A lot of people take investing advice from people who don't even know what real estate is. So you want to take advice from people who know and who actually are investors and who have been actually doing well in that industry. Just don't have somebody lead you down the wrong path. Don't ever have the blind lead you down that path if they've never even been an investor one day in their life, because that will actually cause you to lose a lot of money in the end, and it will be a horrible process for you. So, and we want to try to make this process of you learning about financial literacy an excellent process. Like, you don't want it to be a horrible experience for you. You want it to be a great experience for you to build off of. So the last and final tip is never take advice from somebody who has not done it themselves, okay? So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this video. If you want to see more content like this, please leave a comment below, like this video, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment below, you guys, so I can know who you are, okay? So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.